Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us this morning. We have Claudio here with TODEC Legal Center. He's going to give us a great presentation today. I hope you enjoy it. If you have questions, please type them in the chat box. Dr. Wright is going to be helping me moderate this session today, so feel free to type in your questions and we'll either leave time at the end or answer them during this presentation. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, everybody. My name is Claudio Coren. I'm the attorney for the TODEC Legal Center. I'm really happy to be here today and talking about some issues and items that everybody cares about it and is worried about it. First of all, TODEC Legal Center, for you that doesn't know us, is a community organization, non-profit organization, working and helping the community, the immigrant community in general, not only Latinos, for almost 40 years. We have offices in Riverside County, San Bernardino County, Inyo, Perris, Coachella, and Victorville. So something really important, all our services that we provide are absolutely free. We are not a legal law firm, but we provide some particular legal services like helping people become citizens, with naturalization process, renovation of green cards, and DACA. So it's important, if you have question, if you need that help, you can go in our website, todec.org, and you can schedule interviews, an appointment with me directly. So really important to know exactly where you stand, what are your options. And we will be talking today about exactly that. What are your options in this time? What you can do in order to protect yourself, you protect your family, what happened if somebody stop you in the street, and what happened in general with the process of immigration. So let me start. The TODEC mission is to empower disenfranchised immigrant communities, help them economically, culturally, socially. This is why we help the community, and we're doing this free of charge. The first thing, and this is our philosophy, there's not such thing as illegal. No human is illegal. You can be documented, undocumented, but everybody is a legal person. So we're working with that idea in mind to help them and to help the community to navigate. And the issue of immigration is in our country a problem for communities, millions and millions of people undocumented, millions of people with some type of status that is not 100% secure and sure. They don't know what is going to happen. So then we working to help that community to understand a little more what they can do, what they can do to defend and to protect themselves. There's a mantra of our organizations is know your right. If you know your right, you know what you are entitled to. You know how to protect yourself from attacks from people. We know that is a fact. It's not political. The current administration is not friendly with the immigrant communities. We know what they did. We know what they said. We know what they tried to do. We have the examples of DACA, the attempts to terminate that program. Lucky for us that the courts intervene and stop that process. And DACA survive, of course, in a limited way, but survive. Hundreds of thousands of young people that continue to be protected from deportation, continue to have the opportunity to work and continue to do things. So, but what it means, know your right. What happens if somebody stop you in the street? What happens if somebody goes to your home at 5 o'clock in the morning and knocked down? So you have to know what you do. And I will not enter because we have an entire seminar about that issue, but I would like you to give you like the mantra. There are two fundamental things that you have to know, or three. One is never talk. Don't talk. You have the right to remain silent. And this is really important because everything you do, and you know this phrase because for the TV or the movies, everything you say can and may be used against you in a court of law or in immigration. So The first thing, the first principle is, if you are stopped by immigrant officers, immigration officers like ICE or police, do not talk, don't provide information, never provide information about your immigration status. In California, we are lucky to be here in California. We are protected. You do not have the obligation to provide even your name. There are only one circumstances in which you have to identify yourself. This is when you drive in a car. Other than that, if you're stopping in the street for somebody, you don't have an obligation to even to identify yourself. So, and this one is important to know. Know your right, know what you can do about it. The other thing is, if you are stopped for any reason, or if they came to your home, never provide or give consent to the authorities to do things. Remember, many people say, well, like they have a court order to go in your house or to stop you. Doesn't matter. You never consent. Let them to do their work. Consult with an attorney. Those are the two pillars, I would say, of being secure, that, protect yourself. Never talk, don't, remain silent. You have the right to do that. And never give consent, never sign something without knowing what you're doing. This can be a trouble for, and is in fact the trouble for many, many people. They don't know, they sign, they say, they pressure, stand up and say, I know my rights, I don't have an obligation to sign or to tell you anything. This is important. And again, we have an entire seminars about this one, the different scenarios one can happen. But the two main things, know your right, be prepared, know that there are two things. Do not talk, remain silent if you can, and do not consent. Don't help them, okay? We know that we have millions and millions of people in this country with an undocumented status in general. They for years, they see numbers that go from 10 million to 15 million. We don't know, but necessarily we know, everybody knows that the reform is necessary. So we work in all the organizations like TODEC, working and trying to do something. We'll see what happens. November 3rd, the national election is coming. The obligation of everybody to participate, those that can. Remember, the vote is your voice. Now you can vote for whoever you want, it doesn't matter. But the point is to participate. It's the way that you can impact. Remember, one vote, even one vote can make a difference. So vote this November, and if you have people, you don't have the ability to do it, but you have family members or friends, tell them, use your voice and vote, okay? What happening right now in the immigration aspect? Many think they say, well, it doesn't work. The pandemic is hitting us with numbers that every day there are worse and worse. We have more cases. The restrictions in many aspects continue to be. We know that immigration, the process, the system, continue to work. Of course, there are many things that there has been suspended. For example, meeting or interviews in person, those kind of things has been suspended. And in some way has flexibilized some things that you can do today, application, extensions, you can do it online. But in the other, there are problems, there are limitations. You don't receive a date for scheduled interviews or naturalization or renovations. So just to understand, you can continue to do almost everything online. USCIS have all the website is really, really good. You can find a lot of information on their own website, so you can do it. And of course, if you go to our website, for example, todec.org, you will find really resources to guide you, to help you, what you can do and what you cannot. What are the options in general? Because people, they believe, well, my only option in immigration, if I am undocumented, is I get married or I win the lottery, the green card lottery, depending on the country you're coming from. There are many options. This is why do a diagnostic, an interview with an attorney. to try to screen, try to find out what is your situation and what may be the options for you. There are many. You know, you can be a permanent a resident, a legal permanent resident through a family member if you get married, or your parents, your brothers, sisters, your sons and daughters. Family member is a really easy way to do it if you have the opportunity. Through getting married to somebody. If you are a military member, you have many options. We put here parole in place. That is a particular solution or option. BAGWA is something that's very important for people to know. This is really help a lot of victims of crimes or victims of domestic violence. There are different categories in the BAGWA green cards. But it's really important for people to know if you are a victim of that type of violence, domestic violence, or you are a victim of a crime that happens, something happened on the street. Even if you are not the direct victim, if you, your family member, somebody was a victim of a crime, you may have the opportunity to obtain a legal status through this those type of applications. So we say BAGWA is U visa for crime, T visa for trafficking. That's everything that has related to this violence or criminal activity. Of course, asylum and people, refugees, temporary protection status that continue to be, you know, valid for some communities, although the government wants to also terminate with this, with those protections, but still many people that they are protected under those options. Especially immigrant juveniles. This is really important for young people that they were abandoned, but not abandoned in this on the sense that they have, you know, you grow up in the street. There are situations in which the kids, the parents has to leave the kids here in the country and they were deported, for example. And the young people, they grew up here under the protection of somebody else. So it's important to screen those options and to see what is your history, how you enter the country, how long you've been in the country, if you have papers anymore, what is your family, etc. Many options. Acquisition of derivation of citizenship has to do with if you have, for example, a grandparent or parent that they were citizens. Many people don't know that. If they were citizens, you have the right to become automatically almost a citizen. So it's important to know your story and your history and the history of the family. Of course, employment-based options that has to do if you have a particular employer that is willing to sponsor you, many opportunities to obtain if you have a profession, if you have you work in a particular area that can allow the sponsorship, and this is important. And the last but not less is DACA. DACA, of course, doesn't provide you a legal status or a permanent legal status. DACA is the only thing that does is provide you a protection, temporarily protection for deportation, and allows you that during the time that you are in the country, you can work and you obtain your social security number. We know the story. We have programs and programs about the attempt from the government to terminate this program. Lucky, like I said before, the court said, not so fast. You cannot terminate this program in this way. We'll see what happens if this government continue. I have no doubt that they will continue with their attacks on DACA. I don't know what the future will be. So this is why it's so important this coming election. But DACA continue to work. We are continue to help young people to renew their DACA. Remember, only renewals can proceed. Okay, even if your DACA benefit expired a long time ago, you still can renew it. Doesn't matter. The difference is that if your DACA doesn't expire yet, or it's expired less than a year ago, it's a very simple renovation process. If your DACA has been expired for more than a year, it's more complicated because you have to prove all the papers like it was an original application. So those are more or less the options. So the important thing is not to remember this, is to understand why the screening, talking to an attorney or an organization like TODEC, which by the way, we have, remember that the people working for TODEC in immigration issues, there are what is called accredited representative from the Department of Justice, meaning that they have the authority to help you to do many things for you, even in immigration court. So we, and then you have me that I do a general screening. It's important to call us, to contact us, go to our website, todec.org, and make an appointment. And we can find out or help you to see if you have options, okay? So our organization, like I said, not only we are not a law firm, but we provide particular legal services. But we are also working, we are a community organization, and constantly we are working, our people work to help to work with the state legislator to try to do new laws and new tools to help the community. And this is really important. Let me go, here you go. And the importance of being in California, and we will talk about this kind of thing. Sorry, 1 second, please. I'm sorry, back, the unexpected, the line of those conferences, we have suddenly noises and sound. So why California? California, they said, we are really lucky that we have so many opportunities, even for people that they are undocumented. And this is in the two mentioned, if you see on the presentation, the California DREAM Act and the career license opportunities, that there are laws in California that help and offer opportunity. The California DREAM Act, that this is in general, will not go into details, but you have to know they make opportunities, for example, for college, to get, you are able to study, to go to college, and in many, many circumstances, you can apply for a help, financial help. And this has nothing to do, even if you are undocumented, because one of the problems historically is that, well, if you were undocumented, you have to pay more fees, that there are higher than the local or local residents or documented. This law changed that and offered the opportunities to offer financial assistance to undocumented students. So it's important to understand that what the options you have. You can talk and you speak with your, the people in your colleges, universities. There are opportunities to study in every level, because even for people in college or university, California is a good place to do it, and you are protected by law. The issue of licenses are very important, because remember that in California, and they are very strict, many of the professions, in order to do your job, you must be licensed by the state. Gardening and plumbing and painting and constructions, everybody, attorneys, doctors, everybody needs a license from the state. And before, historically, that was one of the problems. If you were undocumented, you cannot have access to those licenses. The law changed in California and was upheld also by the court, in which one of the first cases was an attorney that obtained his license as an attorney because he's independent past the bar, and they didn't want to give him the license because it was undocumented. So he finally received it, and this is part of this regulation shows that everybody, you don't need to be documented in order to obtain those licenses. There are requirements, of course. If you need a license, you have to pass the qualification. And in terms of, because you don't have a social security number, you will need to use what is called a TIN number, a tax identification number. That will, but this is also important. Everybody, there's no excuse. Remember, there's another thing, the consequences. I was an attorney that did litigation for many years. If you do a job that require a license, plumbing, for example, and you don't have it, you even don't have the right to get the money, to get paid. So be careful, okay? Not talking about being professional attorneys or doctors, even a plumbing, a painting, a painter, if you do paint a house and you don't have a license and the owner say, I don't pay you, they don't pay you. You need a license, and this is the opportunity for everybody, documented or undocumented, to obtain those licenses because it's the law in California. And we said there are many of them, those pro-immigrant California laws that talking about the AB 60 that has to do with know your right, what we were talking about before, that what you do in circumstances in which you are stopped by immigration officers or even by police. But the problem for undocumented people is the ICE people, right? That they go and they try to deport you. So AB 60 so shows, they say you have, first of all, the issue of collaboration. Remember, ICE is a federal agency that depends on the Department of Homeland Security. But always they were working with local authorities, police, sheriff, on the communities. And they have, before those laws, they can have the cooperation agreement. And they can use, if you were in jail for, I don't know, for a DUI or for another convictions, before they release you, they will notify ICE because they knew that you were undocumented, for example. So that era ended because the California prohibited law enforcement agencies like the sheriff and the police department to cooperate in any way with the ICE. Not even to use ICE agent as a translator. So they cannot do it. Of course, there are exceptions that has to do with the very criminal felonies, convictions, or very dangerous criminals. They can still do it. But in general, they cannot cooperate and work with them. So this is why it's so important when I mentioned before, when I say know your rights, don't talk. Don't say anything, to remain silent. Don't talk about your immigration status with anybody. Why? Because if something happened or what it is, we know that there are, although the law exists, we have some cases in which police or sheriff cooperate anyway with the ICE, but it's not the law. This is why it's so important. Do not talk, okay? Remain silent, don't help them. Healthcare, that has to do with access to, if you are sick, there are many modifications constantly that we're changing the laws in that respect because for example, we have the medical access for emergencies and medical access for young people. So those are also important because you have the opportunity and the access to those programs. If you are sick, in particular, look, in this time of COVID, I didn't talk about this one, but we continue to have almost 8 million people infected, 220,000 people die of this coronavirus virus. So, and many people we know for different reasons, they are afraid to go to the doctor because of the public charge that I will talk about a little about that one, about they don't know, they are afraid, maybe they go to an hospital, they know that they don't have documents and they arrest him, many different reasons. You have to go, and because it's the only way that you can protect yourself and your family. In this one, the pandemic is not like many in the political world try to show. This is serious stuff. Many people die every day because of this and can be use a mask, keep your distance. It's the two words that everybody said. Use a mask and keep your distance. So let's keep going. We have different different laws. For example, AB 450, Immigrant Worker Protection Act in California. What is one of the things that is protect you in your working place? If you're working in a plant, you are protected. In which way? Employers cannot cooperate or provide information to immigration authorities, except only one form, that is the form that is used to determine eligibility. And this one, what is important, because in the same way that I mentioned, if immigration officers go to your home and knock the door, you don't have to open the door. If you open the door and you invite them, they are legally in your house. The same thing happened on the workplace. In this case, it's not in your hands, but it's in the hands of the employer. The employer can authorize immigration officers to go in. So California law limit, in fact, the ability of those employers to cooperate, in fact, with with immigration officers in that respect. They have to notify employees and the union in case that they have requests from immigration. They have the obligation to ask for warrants if they go in. Technically, they are not allowed to let them in, like in the house we said, if the immigration officer, they don't have a warrant. And remember, this is a very important distinction, because it's not the same. The immigration may have against you as an individual a order for deportation, for example. Doesn't mean that he can go and enter into your house. This is why they wait outside to catch a individual that has an order of deportation. They don't go, sometimes they try, but if you don't open the door, they cannot go in because they do not have a search warrant, an order from a judge to go into your house, okay? The rest of laws are the same issues. That has to do with over California Values Act, that has to do with the protection. What can do the community and what things can be done and what things cannot be done. California is very helpful in that respect. School for immigrant students, also many times, even with the issue, the financial issue. If you are undocumented, you were exposed to higher fees, and also that they can, in many cases, they were informed to immigration. They cannot do it. The law in California prohibits schools, colleges to provide immigration, not only provide, to ask you about your immigration status. This is the point. Nobody can ask you about your immigration status, not in school, not in hospitals, not if you go to the doctor or to the college. Nobody can ask you that. So know your right. This is what we are talking about. Protect yourself by knowing what you can do or what you can. And I would like to go a little more in detail about this one, what you can do. For example, Safe School, prohibit discrimination based on student actual or perceived immigration status. And this is important that people say, well, you don't have Social Security or you don't have, doesn't matter. They cannot discriminate. School district complaint process must include discrimination based on immigration status, meaning you have the right to, that the college or the school, they have the obligation to have a body that you go to them and you talk about this one, you make a complaint. School cannot collect information regarding citizenship or immigration status of students or their family members, okay? Parents must be informed of their children's right to a public education, regardless of immigration status. Students must be educated about the negative impact of bullying. The Attorney General must publish model policies. This is important. It has to do the information out for people to know their rights, what they can do and what they can't, okay? This is why, and again, all this information, even in our website, in todec.org, you will find many links that will send you, if you're interested in looking at those more in details, you can go to our website and look for the link, the sources, and you will be able to find. Marijuana and immigrants. This is really important matter because they have a big impact in immigrants, and in particular to people that want to have the lack of legal status. They have to be very careful. Remember, marijuana is lawful in almost the entire country, in many states. In California, you have places you can grow, you can process, you can buy, you can sell, and you can use in particular circumstances, but still unlawful under federal law. And this is the problem, because if immigration is controlled by what the federal law said, and being not only convicted for particular crimes of using marijuana, but the simple use of marijuana can have consequences, negative consequences in your immigration status. For example, you never ever say to an immigration officer that you smoke marijuana or use marijuana. Never ever say that. You know, I would like to read this because it has to do. In California, you say persons age 21 and over can legally possess and use marijuana, okay? Also permit medical use. But the problem is unlawful under California law. So if you're not a US citizen, the recommendation is do not use marijuana, because if you get caught and you have you are a legal permanent resident, or you are a DACA beneficiary, or you are in the process of doing something, obtaining legal status, you can lose everything just simply for smoking a marijuana joint. So understand, so long that the federal law considered marijuana illegal, so have adverse consequences for immigrations, very great. So be careful, be really careful about this issue, okay? What are your rights? And one of the campaigns that we do, the organizations like TODEC all the time conduct, is try to make people, if you are a legal permanent resident, become a citizen, apply for naturalization. And why? Why is so important? Well, one example is the issue of what I mentioned, the marijuana. If they catch you, if you are a legal resident and they catch you with marijuana, they can take your green card away. That's simple. So this is important to become a citizen for many reasons. Protection. First of all, a permanent resident has, in practical terms, almost access to everything that a citizen does, except he cannot vote. If you leave the country, you cannot be outside of the country more than 6 months without a permit. You can lose your permanent residence. Okay, you have limitations. You can request family members help them, but limited, your wife, your kids, but they take a long time to obtain those benefits. You cannot ask for sisters and brothers for immigration help. So there are many different things that you will have. Some governmental benefits are not able for legal residents to obtain unless they have many years in the country, but then you have limitations. This is why it's so important. Let me see, here they say, the issue of travel, the travel abroad, no more than 6 months. You lose your residence if you stay more than 6 months, and you didn't mention that. Crimes, there are some crimes beside the issue of marijuana that can make you lose your green card. So be very careful. Become a citizen. Remember, now we are approaching November 3rd, the national elections. The future of our country and our communities for the next 4 years or more depend on the result of this election, and we know that. So if you have the ability to vote, vote is your voice. It's the only way, in fact, that you can participate. You can participate in other ways, but it's maybe the most important one. The election day, you vote, you decide who your leaders will be and how they will conduct and which policies you want. So do it. Many people say, well, I don't know the language, or I have a criminal history that maybe stopped me from becoming a citizen. This is why we have in TODEC attorneys like me and in many other places to do for free screening, a diagnostic. If you have a history of some kind, a criminal or immigration problems in the past, but now you are a resident, came to us and talk to us. And I will tell you, look, this is not a problem, even if you have that history, or yes, maybe a problem, you know what, wait, don't do it right now. We see, but this is important and we do it for free. So if you can become a citizen, is the only way to be completely secure. One more thing I will say about residents, that people, you say, this is the green card is permanent legal resident. And that is permanent, but it's conditional. Conditional to what? Well, conditional in that you don't leave the country for more than 6 months, or you don't commit a particular type of crime, or you don't smoke marijuana, for example. This is why it's conditional. In any moment, for a particular reason, they can take away your right. Not that way when you are a citizen, okay? Let's see. Well, the census ended. In fact, we know what the important the census was and is, because the census determined, distribution of money for organizations, community organizations, school, college, hospitals, church. And of course, one of the characteristic of this administration was also to attack the census and try to end it early. Everybody knows that statistically, the more people involved, the more people participate and vote, the government, the Republican Party knows that it impacts them in different ways. So the census, in fact, for the moment ended, has been completed, and this one has prepared before. But the election is coming, and November 3rd is still there. So please do your job, vote, and if you can, but you have family members or friends, please talk to them about the importance of voting. It's your voice, and make it heard. So this is more or less the idea. I hope that this information is a lot of information, a lot of matters and issues, but at least give you an idea that what you can do, what are your rights, and the sources, if you want to know more, where to go and check it out. Remember, we are TODEC here to help you, to provide information and to help you in many, many ways. So and everything for free. So please contact us and see if we can help, okay? Suzanne, I don't know if we have any questions or comments. I'm all yours.
Yes, so we have a question. The first one is there any information about emancipation for minors on your website?
For emancipation, I honestly don't know, and I didn't see anything, but emancipation is a process that everybody can go to any superior court here in the Coachella, Indio, or Palm Springs, and or in Riverside, and check it out. They have brochures and flyers that inform what is the process for emancipation. Remember, emancipation is for a minor that want to get emancipated, meaning be independent and legally apt to be independent from their parents, because they may have problems, they have violence, etc. But this is something, is a process with the Orange County Superior Court, and there are flyers about that. The issue of emancipation that can be, remember what I mentioned, the special SJI, special juvenile immigrant, that we're talking about people without legal status, and they have in a situation that may need to be emancipated, is because something happened in the relationship between the parents and the kid. So maybe this can be have consequences immigration-wise.
Thank you. Okay, next question. What is the best way we can support DACA students and the people trapped at the border?
Well, it's a very important question. The mobilization, is constant. We and again, it's not only our organization. The entire country has mobilized behind DACA. This is why, in fact, the courts responded and stopped the government from eliminate the program. And if it was because constantly there are people are mobilizing themselves and going and make their voice heard. One of the things is the very important is register with organizations like ours, like TODEC. In your community, there are many, many organizations that work for the benefit of immigrants, not only for DACA, but you mentioned in the border, we know the problems that we have right now, the problem with the minors that separated from families. The best way to do it is to register with organizations like TODEC, and which we have many volunteer opportunities. We're working in many programs and many organizations do the same. So to be active, this is a good way to do it. Through a church or through an organization is the way to do it.
Thank you. And how can we donate to TODEC?
Well, TODEC, it's a good question, and I appreciate that because remember, we all the non-profit organizations, we be able to help the community because the community is helping us to get in funds and money. We have, if you go to our website, you will find there is a button that say, please donate, or on Facebook, you will find that. So it's really, really important. For example, one of the DACA things that we are helping without free of charge to do the DACA renovation. But until now, regretfully, right now we get out of funds to pay because we, for DACA beneficiaries that they were low income, we even pay for the immigration fees. Right now, at this moment exactly, we don't have funds. So it's important for people if those that they can help and can donate to do it because we need those resources in order to continue to help the community. Okay, and DACA is one of them. When we have the funds, they go to pay the entire fee of immigration, that it was $496. And they was paid, but right now we don't have those funds, so we need your help as well.
Thank you, Claudio. Are there any more questions out there? Please feel free to type them in the chat. I know there's a little bit of a delay on the YouTube stream, so we'll give it a couple secs, but thank you so much for this great presentation, Claudio. And I just want to remind everyone that we will be hosting events all week. So visit our website at msjc.edu/dreamers/week of action. And there's a list of all the events happening. TODEC and Claudio is going to be hosting a couple more presentations this week, a Know Your Rights presentation tomorrow, and then an immigration and policy updates presentation on Thursday. So we have a great week of events happening. Let's give it a couple more seconds.
Suzanne, in the meantime, it's true. Tomorrow I would do, I think they Know Your Right, that is specific about what to do and more in detail in the circumstances if you are stopped or arrested by immigration officers, what to do. Is really important presentation for undocumented people or with people that have friends or family that they are undocumented, what to do in those situations.
Yes, definitely, definitely. That'll be a really great presentation, very informative. Thank you everyone for joining us. I think we're done with questions. Remember to check out our website and see all of our other events. And also, if you weren't able to attend yesterday's kickoff event with Julio Salgado, please check out the YouTube stream. It is still up and running, so you can watch that back. It was a great presentation. Thank you all for joining us, and hope to see you at our other events throughout the week. Bye, everybody.